Welcome to the LeBar Practice Complex, Irish fans, for the 8th practice of Training Camp 2014 for the Fighting Irish football team. Today's session getting some national attention as the ESPN College Football Bus Tour stops by Notre Dame today to provide national coverage of the Irish, both live and recorded. Now, as the team took the field this morning, a light rain was falling. You remember I told you on Saturday that the team was going to practice on the new turf in Notre Dame Stadium today for the first time, but the weather changed those plans. They moved to the LeBar Practice Complex so they can easily move inside the Loftus Center if the weather gets worse and threatening. Now, our report today is actually going to be a position profile. We're going to focus on a position everybody around here is very excited about for the Notre Dame football team this year, the running backs. As always, this report brought to you by St. Joseph Regional Medical Center.
If it's hard, it's got to be good for you. It's got to be good for you because it's going to get you somewhere where we all want to be. So let's make it hard today. Everybody push a little bit harder. Push it a little bit harder today. It's cool temperatures. Let's get better today. Nick Martin, break us down.
Yeah! Here we go, Nick!
Indy football! Woo! Count me on two! 1, 2! Count me!
Last week down in Culver, we were talking. You smiled and said, I love my guys, and there's a lot to love. Tell me about your running back group.
Yeah, dude, it's a great group. Jack, I love them. You know, you got the older guy, Cam McDaniel, and then you got Tyron Folsom, Greg Bryant, Tyler Plants. You know, he's in there, and Josh Anderson. So good group of guys. You know, we're short on numbers. You know, we don't have large numbers of guys, but we got everything we need, and they're fun to work with. They're high energy. They want to learn. They like to play, and so it's good to be with them. It's a great group. Cam McDaniel, as far as his progress right now, is he's done a really good job in his leadership role, and he's trying to improve every day and improve his game and his knowledge base of the game. And he's doing those things, and he's made some plays throughout camp thus far. You know, Tarn's another guy that he's got to make sure that he's pushing himself to his limits, every single day. He's got some really good gifts about him, but really the internal drive of pushing himself to those limits. And Greg, you know, he's an explosive guy, and he's hard to get on the ground, and as we've all seen. But his knowledge base of the offense has to come along in the pass pro and things. But his overall knowledge base, and that takes time. He's got to spend extra amount of time in his film room with me, with his teammates, by himself, and really just studying this offense. We don't have school right now, so we got plenty of time to do that, to stay in the film room and get to know this offense. But we feel comfortable with all of them. You know, I think that all of them are going to be capable of making plays for us. You know, at some point in time, we're going to need them all too.
And you have 3 guys who could certainly start at the major college football level and be very productive. How do you work all of them so that they are as productive as possible, both individually and for this team as a whole?
Well, I think that everybody has to understand that each of those guys individually has to understand they have skill sets that they have to improve on, and we do as a group. But they also need each other. And you know, you're only as good as the guys with you, and I think they all know that, and they champion each other's efforts. Now they compete at a high level with one another every single day, but they also know that they need one another, and they help one another, and they're all friends, and that helps when they all get along.
You know, fans of media love to label guys. He's the speed back, he's the power back, he's the elusive back. Are these guys like single skill dominant backs, or do they all have the whole package, so to speak?
Well, one big thing is we're working to make them complete players, and we talk about that in recruiting. We want to have them be a complete running back in this case, and they've got to be able to block, pass pro. They have to know where they fit in the pass protection, not only where they fit, and then they have to know how to execute the block. They all have to know how to run routes and catch the ball and be adept at that, and they all have to understand the run game and how they make plays. So they have to be complete players, and the things that maybe some things that Greg Bryant needs to work on that that Cam might be more efficient at. Well, then Greg's got to hone in on those things. And then there's some things that Greg does that maybe Tyron doesn't do as well. So Tyron's got to hone in on those things. So we're trying to make complete players, and so that we don't have to pick and choose and say, okay, we're going to run this, let's get this guy. And we like to be able to say that all of them can do everything we want to do within this offense.
You touched on something I don't think fans always realize the importance of it. You can't be on the field if you can't pass block, and I know you're working on that a lot right now.
Yeah, not in this offense. And the previous 2 years, the backs weren't asked to be in pass protection, and we protect and we check things a certain way that we were able to get our backs out. Well, in this one, we're doing more pass protection, more conventional as far as the running backs being integrated into the pass pro scheme. So they've got to be able to do that. That's probably one of the hardest skill sets for most high school running backs coming in, is they've never had to do it. So, Cam had to at some point in time in his career. Greg and Tyron never have. So there's some work in progress in there, and that's something we work on every single day.
Getting into the dog day, so to speak, of training camp, but I would imagine from a coaching perspective, there really is never enough time to get everything done that you want to get done. What, though, needs to be done with your group so that you can play at the level that I know you anticipate this team is capable of playing when they take the field against Rice?
Well, the same things we talk about all the time, just improving our skill sets every day, toughness and grit, and things get hard, and how are you gonna compete when it gets hard? And always going back and relying on the fundamental principles of what you've been taught at all times. When it gets hard, go back to the fundamental principles of what you've been taught, and again, improving every single day. We're going to come out and say, what do I need to work on today to get better? It might be pass protection, it might be running routes, it may be really pushing into combinations and forcing linebackers into combinations in the run game, and understanding our scheme. So just continued improvement, and there's not enough time in the day. You say Rice is in 19 days. Well, wish it was 21 days so we could get a few more in, but it is what it is, and but we'll be ready when it's time. We'll be ready to go.